painting skills and has done shows in lots of places, but I'm focusing just on Los Angeles in 2024 and 2017. And then she's done some various public works art projects too. One of them will be explained here on the Metro. So it'll be a fun thing to see the art in here as well as in the museum during our reception after the meeting. So without further ado, Lois, let me have you come on up.
I love that we still use further ado, which is from Shakespeare, right? Which is from 1500s, right?
There we go.
So it's all about telling stories. And for art, for me, it's about experience and it's about telling stories. And I really appreciate the opportunity to be here with you because as a visual artist, one of the things that I need to do is to be able to talk about my art. And as an artist, it's one of the most difficult things for us to do, to write about it and talk about it, because I'm a visual artist and the art, I would like to just speak for itself, but for me to get opportunities, to get sales, to get projects, I mean, all I want to do is just be a part of a project or be a part of a community or be a part of something. So I really appreciate the opportunity to be here, to practice what I do and to share with you what I'm doing.
You ought to get the chart.
So my name is Lois Keller,
You just
and
say when and I'll move the chart.
yeah, okay. So I am a visual artist. I have been ever since I was little. I work in a sketchbook every single day, usually around 5 in the morning. I'm an early riser, always have been, and these are my sketchbooks, and at the end of every sketchbook I do a self-portrait. Right now I am in the phase, next phase of my life where my children are, one is off living in Paris and the other one is a senior in high school. So I am now in this phase of getting rid of everything. It's really amazing. So these are all my sketchbooks and I don't want to take them with me. But they are actual gold to me. Sometimes the sketches are more valuable to me than the works of art that are framed in a gallery or something like that. So yeah. I was born in a home for unwed mothers. I am adopted. This is a painting that I did. It's about my, this is what my mom, she's my adopted mom, Peggy, we'll call her. She comes up in a lot of the stories, tells me about the day that I was adopted, and this is about the same day. There's a lot of duality in my art because of this way that I came into the world. So I have intense love for both of them, and that's the beginning of my origin story for my art. And that was my mom and dad there. This is my adopted family, my dad and my mom and me, and that's an oil painting that I did from a photograph. So you'll see a lot of my art is through observation. But observation, for me, enhances imagination. And I'm here to document what it's like to be here. The way I came into the world is a little bit mysterious to me, but I think it was all through love, but it's still kind of amazing. And so I feel like that's maybe my drive, or the core of my art is to prove that I exist. I feel like I need to document what it's like to be here, to feel what it's like to be here, and that kind of thing. So that's me when I was a little girl. I had a very happy childhood, and I loved to draw and paint. So people say, are you from an artistic family or this? So I don't know. I do know that my adopted mother, Peggy, took me to the Art Institute of Chicago a lot, and always my family supported me. I was the only artist in my family. Still am. They all think I'm weird. But they've always supported me. And that's been the best thing. And I don't know if it's genetic or not. Either way, this was a picture of me when I was a little girl, and I decided to make it into an oil painting. We're skipping. Okay, this timeline is going to be crazy. I think as I see this audience here, you guys are going to understand that the timeline doesn't really go like this, right? It goes like a snail, or a spiral. That deals with science, and I feel like if you're going this way, you only see one way. But if you go this way, you see where you've been and where you're going and all that kind of stuff. So I'm new to giving presentations, so I appreciate your patience and your, come with me on this ride of this crazy timeline that we live in as life just goes faster and faster as we get older and older. So then I had a baby. And then this is me giving away the stuff from the first baby, only to find out that I was pregnant with a second baby. This is a sketchbook and this is a painting. And so there's a lot of duality in my work, which we talked about before, and I was talking about observation and imagination. And so not knowing exactly where you came from, your history, your DNA kind of sits with me a little bit, even though I had a very comfortable and I relate to my family. But I think we all feel that. It's quite universal, really, especially if you're an artist. I know many artists who don't feel like they fit in exactly with their family, but they still, they love their family, but everyone's always trying to understand who they are and where they came from. That's me, a reflection of me. That's another duality. That's my kitchen in Chicago. And then this is my mother, Peggy, later on life, and that's my daughter, Gidget, who was just at the soccer game that I was late for, graduating as a senior. These are my two daughters. So as you can see, life imitates art. So this is a portrait of the girls. And my mom here, Peggy, she had Alzheimer's for 14 years. And she was diagnosed as soon as I was pregnant. So, as soon as my first child was born. So I'm the sandwich generation, so I had it on both sides. But I really learned a lot from her, and I incorporated it into my life, and it made me who I was. She taught my girls empathy, she taught me empathy, and you'll see this kind of, we're spiraling, and that's my younger daughter, Gidget, painting with her. And this is me, this is a drawing that I did called Holding My Mother. I grew up in Chicago, and as we said, we went to the University of Wisconsin. I had a career as a scenic artist, which is in theater, where I painted backdrops for opera and ballet and all that kind of stuff. So I did have a career, but I'm kind of focusing on my California life here for this presentation. So we moved to California when my first daughter was 2 years old, and my husband had sold a script. He was a writer working for Second City, and we drove from Chicago to California, and by the time we got here, they canceled it, and he lost. I know how you guys know California and the life, so the writer's life, artist's life. But for me, it was a wonderful life to come to California. I loved raising my girls here, and we lived in Studio City. This is a beautiful, this is a sketchbook here with our dog and our address and our swing on our tree. So that's some of my personal work. That's our move to California. So you can see how sometimes I go back and forth between the very personal, the abstract, the realistic, things like that. And this is about planting seeds, bringing my new family here and raising my family here in California as opposed to Illinois. Oh my God, you can have an orange tree in your backyard? Are you kidding me? That was so amazing. We were renting a house and we had three citrus trees. We had a fig tree. I didn't even know what it was. Okay, I'm going to tell you this kind of funny story. I didn't even know what this tree was, and I was trying to explain it to a neighbor, and she said, "That's a fig tree." And she goes, do you know when it's ripe? And I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And she says, when the fruit on it, when it feels like a part of the male genitalia, it's ripe. And I was like, wow, this place is really crazy and great and cool. And we don't talk about things like that when I grew up. So I loved California. This was kind of symbolizing, this is a combination of observation and realism, because these oranges represent me and my husband and my daughter coming to California. And this is a blood orange where I told you I draw very early in the morning, especially having young children. If I could get a little bit of art done before everybody woke up and I had to become mom, I was feeling successful. So these were actual fruit picked from neighbors and trees around, and they're done in colored pencil. That's a blood orange. Living in LA, you're gonna see this pop up a lot. We talk about parking. We talk about parking. It's car is king, and it's really dominates kind of our life here. And I love I love Canoga Park with the neighborhood. That's why I like Studio City. We used to walk to school, and being in the car, I think, is destroying some of our culture. You know, just what it's done to the world. So I have a lot of parking artwork going on
Very good.
throughout my work. Later on in life, I did find out my birth family, and coincidentally, my cousin Liam here lived a mile away from me in California. It's crazy. I was born in Wisconsin and they were raised in Illinois. This is my birth mother's twin brother. And he was in Vietnam War at the time, and he's the person that I connected with. I was able to connect with. My birth mother had unfortunately died, so I didn't get a chance to meet her. But I met her twin brother. Coincidentally, my adopted mother is also a twin, identical twin, named Lois, who I'm named after. Yeah, so Liam and I were kind of like these lost foundlings, you know, in this big Irish Catholic family, and so he's the person I grab onto. He's the person that I'll ask to drive me to the airport. I'm the person that he'll ask to help, you know, move his furniture. That's as family does. This is my mom, Peggy. This is the day I was adopted, and when I found out that I was Irish. So this is a painting that I did about the Irish goddess. Can't remember her name, but I like knowing, I really enjoyed knowing, you know, a little bit more about where my DNA and where I come from. That's my mom and dad, Bob and Peggy, and I did this painting after they had both died a few years ago, but that's kind of talking about observation, imagination, things like that. And then there was, you know, a lot of political things happen as they do throughout our life. And it's, as an artist, I can't help but not respond to it. So this is Fauci. During COVID, during the impeachment, you know, we're all stuck at home. So who was my subject matter, but what was happening on the TV? And so these I did on my iPad, which is a new medium that I learned with a pen. Very fun. So I have too many drawings, let's just say that, of everything that was happening at the time. But I found it really great to listen, and this is about observation, as I'm listening to the people talk. I mean, these are not from photographs. These are through TV. I mean, everything is modern, everything is moving, so these are through the TV. I'm listening to the talk, and I'm getting the characters as I go, and then, bam, the next character comes up. So it's a lesson in fast movement, and I did a lot of work for the Women's March, and that's one of it's Blue Wave, postcarding and things like that. And that's more, yeah, here we go. These are some of the players of the scene of our times. It's very important as an artist. I think, you look back on arts. I love art history. And the thing that's great about it is it's just another way of talking about the time. You look at the art, you look at the music, you look at the politicians, you look at what's happening with everything. So that is an important part of my work as an artist. Oh my God, where's parking again? This is done on cue cards, which is quite Los Angeles. I went to actually dropped my dog off at the veterinarian, and there's a printer right by there, and the printer had this stack of cue cards, to be recycled outside the back, and so I took those with me, thought those would be really fun to work on. So it's kind of quite the Los Angeles scenario right there. And during my children's growing up, I ended up, I stayed home with my children, but I worked as an artist in their schools. So I was the resident artist at the preschool, I was the resident artist at the elementary school, and the middle school. I did all the posters, I did the murals, I did the teaching of the classes. And it was, I kind of wish I'd given myself more of a break during that time. I didn't think it was valuable, or, I wasn't in a gallery or a museum or, like fancy or downtown LA, but I was making work and doing work because I'm an I observe, and art is about experience, and it's where I was at the time. And making art is a daily practice for me, and so it was easier for me to just be in with that, do my art while I was there instead of trying to be somewhere else. This is the preschool. There's my little one there, who was at soccer night tonight. And there they are supporting me. And this drawing is quite interesting as we talk about Owensmouth, which I learned from the Historical Society this is about the LA River. And I just think it's so interesting what the LA River was, what it is now, what it can be, what it wants to be. I know you guys are, I'm sure, very, very familiar with it, but I wish that the LA River could connect more communities together instead of freeways. Oh my God, where's your change? Do you have enough change? And during COVID and everything. So here's another river story. This is the LA River. This is a photograph I took of a monarch butterfly in my backyard. And this is, we talked about what gallery I was in for this project, and they'd given all the artists called What's on Tap and given us all this panel. And when I talk about conservation, environmentalism, things like that, I like to lead with positivity. I like to talk about what is happening that's good, what can be forward. We all know things are scary and hard and all that kind of stuff. And generations have dealt with that before, but let's talk about what we can do to make it better. Imagine, art is about imagination. And the thing about imagination is it could be anything. So why don't we do something positive? Like every movie about the future does not have to be about zombies or, apocalypse, things like that. So I do enjoy a good zombie movie, don't get me wrong, but when we talk about things, imagine what it could be like if we did this and if we did that. And these are the Matilia poppies, and these are the heron that I've seen along the river that are starting to make a comeback. This is a chalk drawing. These are really a lot of fun to do in public. I love public art. I love engaging the community. And so this was a really fun one that went along with the exhibit during a festival down at the birth of Los Angeles on Olivera Street. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's quite fascinating. The mother source is where it started. And then now here we are at Owensmouth, with the river connected. So that was a fun project to be with. And that's me at the exhibit. This is my 2 daughters, and there's my cousin Liam. So we, it's kind of nice. I just love that it's just jumbling around all over the place. These are the Matilia poppies. You guys know about the Matilia poppies? Have you seen them? They call them cowboy flowers or the big fried egg flowers. They're native just to this area. They pop up in crazy places. They pop up in, sidewalks along the river. They're hard to cultivate as you won't find them in nurseries. So let's keep going and you'll see my fascination with them. Oh my God, where's my change? Need to park. And then, again with the observation, the imagination, landscape, figure, psychology. I've been experimenting with adding photography and real things with it. And this is more observation of Los Angeles. I love plein air painting. Plein air painting is a French term. It means open air. It means you're there standing in a spot and you're actually painting in the moment. It's not from a photograph. So this is called Ciclavia. Did any of you guys go to Ciclavia? Just came through here, yeah. Where it's the open streets and people are bicycling and cycling and walking and the streets are open and connecting communities. That's why it's not like, you recognize this as Grauman's Chinese Theater, right?
Yeah.
And this is all the stuff that was happening, like people racing back and forth. And here's a LA taco truck at night. Things I love about Los Angeles. Here's the Matilia poppies. This is in Studio City. This is the LA River along Studio City too, where I live, and these beautiful flowers. And this is my elementary school carpenter community charter. And we cracked a lot of concrete and we planted some native trees there with Tree People and LA Conservation Corps. And that's been a huge part of my joy and love of Los Angeles. This is a new project I'm working on. It's going to be at Descanso Gardens. I don't know, are you guys familiar with Descanso Gardens? It's pretty far from here, far from Studio City, but we're doing a project about the roots of shade and shade equity and city trees. And my thing is that there's been so many groups planting city trees, but we don't take care of them. Right. This is what happens. Everybody's like, yay, we planted a tree, and then they go on and do, I don't know what they do, but they don't water it, they don't take care of it, and it ends up being staked and controlled and cut down, and then it adds to the blight and a lot of problems in the city. So I'm experimenting with photography about that. It's kind of a new way of me doing things, but we'll see what it turns out. It's going to be in August. Oh, and then, oh my God, my daughter grew up and she went to Paris for school through Emerson College. And because she went to Paris, here she is with her baguette, and there's me on the FaceTime with her. And we went to visit her, and we went to Degas. We went to Monet's garden. Doesn't that look like a painting?
Yes.
I was like standing in the middle of a painting. I said, I cannot believe it. And the mystery of art history and how paintings are made just blew my mind. And I came home with such fervor. And that's when I really started plein air painting and painting what's in front of me. Not only did I realize he painted what was in front of him, he planted what he wanted to paint. He had planted all those gardens. And I came home and saw my world in a whole new light. And I had a little more time because one of them was off at college. So here's the Matilia poppies again in Studio City. This is the plein air painting, so you can see them here. And this is I just walk out there and I set up. there's homeless people behind me. There's garbage over here. There's traffic. There's Laurel Canyon. There's like helicopters. It's LA. But what I got out of it was this beautiful painting. And you'll see that's what these are. These are paintings. So it's what you focus on. By doing that, I'm not ignoring it because I'm letting you know that this is it. And this is where this was painted at a different time of year. So it's hopeful. Like spring, right? It's hopeful. It's hopeful, and then also I'm doing it for the past 3 years, and I hope to continue to keep doing that. I think it's very interesting. Yep, I found the joy of plein air painting. There she is in Paris. Well, I'm here. Where was the other one? It was switched. And this is the river here, and unfortunately this grove is now no longer. The city came and cut it down. So I'm trying to figure out how to communicate that, that's the kind of the art of it, isn't it? In a way, it's not just a pretty picture about flowers. It's a picture about, yeah, exactly. Again, the duality, here and there, and what's there and what's not there. There they are, my daughters, all grown up, and this is, there's a little couple clues in here. A little bit orange, and I don't know if you know this, but also they think when, oh gosh, I can't remember the arts right now, but the skies were orange was because of the fires. And there's a mask in her back pocket, and a mask she's holding. And they were teenagers, and they had to stay home. And we'd go up to Mulholland Drive, though, at sunset, and we'd just look at it, and they were just the best. I mean, teenagers during that time, can you imagine? How would you guys have reacted? I don't think I would have done as well as these kids did. Let's give them a break. Oh my God, the strikes in Los Angeles. So much is happening. Like, I'm an artist, and every time something happens, I want to grab it. I want to explain it and talk about it and be there. So I went out, brought my canvas, just like I do with the Matilda poppies that come up, every year. Like, look at this. Look what's happening. I can hear it, the wave. So this is at Paramount Pictures. And I did a whole series. I went to every studio. You couldn't help but notice it. You're driving around and there's honking, your neighbor's out of work, your restaurant is closing. We all went through it, so you guys understand. But I wanted to capture the feeling. So I wanted, here again, observation with the Paramount Theater. It's familiar, right? And then this is like, what is happening here? Oh, that's my house. I did that during COVID. That's my house in Studio City. Okay, so then I have a wall outside my house in Studio City, and during COVID, I was like, I'm just gonna paint on this wall. I mean, as artists, you're always applying for a job. You are entering shows. You're like, pick me. How about this one? Does this fit into your category? It's very difficult. And it takes away from the art making, quite frankly. That's why I'm quite grateful to have this talk with you guys today. So I paint over this wall about every 3 to 4 months. I didn't ask permission, and all my neighbors have been just so encouraging and grateful and fun and friendly. And that was just kind of a fun little respite. Like, it's not political, it's not precious, it's not this, it's not that, it's something. And it started out of COVID because we remember when we were all just walking around and kind of seeing the same old stuff all the time. So as I was teaching kindergarten at the elementary school, and trust me, you do not want to teach kindergarten art on Zoom. Are you kidding me? I was like, okay, everybody needs to turn off the computers, get down on the ground with a box of crayons and some paper, and that's it. That's your assignment. So yeah, that's the community mural there. And I would just paint over it. And I'd like to add elements from the last mural into the next mural to see if they could find it. Halloween. Oh, we're back here. Okay. My slide sharing is, thank you for bearing with me with the timeline. But here's Netflix, and that's me doing the painting. And so again, I'll do it in about 2 hours, the same time that it takes there. And this is in Studio City at Radford. And that's kind of, I also wanted to do it because I felt like it was a type of performance art. People don't see people making art. And I thought with the writers in solidarity, like, it's very boring to watch someone write. Like, that's kind of boring. Like, how do you show what creating is? And so I'd go out there, set up my easel, and there's someone actually painting. And I met so many interesting people. I met a guy whose family worked on The Wizard of Oz, with the animals. I met LA has so many stories. And I was trying to capture that this is not just about, money or anything like that, or these companies. These are real stories and real people, and this is what it takes, to create something. So it was kind of a rebellion against AI as well. Like, here's a real person on the ground looking at this and making that. More of the mural. I did a sunflowers as a nod to when the war in Ukraine. And this is Halloween, and there's my little dog Millie and my daughter Gidget, the teenager. These are my friends, and this last one, this was recent. I did the Nutcracker Suite. Things were such turmoil. I didn't want to do Christmas or Hanukkah or anything. I just thought, let's just do ballerinas, snowflakes. So that's what I did for this winter. That's my daughter, Sunny, and she rescued a pigeon over COVID. So that's her pet pigeon, who was living in my studio at the time. She had to come home from school. So here's a cyclavia on the 6th Street Bridge. Have you guys been to the 6th Street Bridge? Isn't it cool? It's amazing. It's really neat, and it's connecting neighborhoods. So I went on the 6th Street Bridge. Not only is it cool about that it's Los Angeles, but the people were coming and going. And so that's another plein air painting that I did. I added this one today because Bill told me that Canoga Park does a Day of the Dead festival that's really famous. So I'm going to check that out. I've been to the Hollywood Forever Cemetery does a Day of the Dead. It is really my favorite festival. It's so authentic, and they get people from Mexico, and they offer, if anyone wants to make a memorial, you can do it. And so I signed up, and at the time, this is my birth mother, this is my adopted mother, that's her twin sister Lois, who I'm named after, and they never got to meet, and I created this Day of the Dead tea party for them to meet and have kind of a celestial kind of thank you for me being here thing. It was really fun. There's I think that picture speaks for itself right there. All the ups and downs we've been through with the politics and trying to raise children during this time and be positive and hope for the best. That's just another, I think that goes pretty well with after that. Interior, there's an interior observation as well as an exterior observation. Oh my God, really? Did you find a spot? Now we can't find colors. Here's another, so I did a Massilia Poppies mural on my wall as well in Studio City. A Halloween one, that one was a lot of fun. So you can see that I'm just painting over it. Like I said, art's not precious. Art is about experience. It's about time. It's about being in the moment. It's about art isn't really have anything unless it has an audience, you know? And that's another thinking about things that aren't necessarily that you can see. That's my house that we moved to on Craft Avenue in Studio City. And we rented the house for a long time. And my landlady is Kathy Geisway. Is anyone familiar with the Kathy comic strip? Remember?
Oh,
Yeah, I love the Kathy. She's great. She's been wonderful to us, for our family here for 20 years. And we lived in this house, big, huge tree. But we moved to a second house where the wall is, where the mural is. And she did end up selling it to a developer, and it got torn down.
Oh.
And she wanted a document of the house, so I painted this oil painting for her. And here's something I thought was interesting. I realized that there is beauty in an unfinished portrait. And what this means is I was a very busy mom, and with the second child, I did not have a chance to fill it, to paint it. This is the first daughter, that's the second daughter. I did take them to the strawberry fields, but coming to terms with being able to get done what you can do and not having to, finish everything. And sometimes something unfinished is just as beautiful. Letting the illustrator in me go, I won a lot of awards, and I would get accolades for making something look like something, things that were familiar. And I think there was a part of me that was afraid of the abstract in art, and so this is one of my favorite paintings. This is a personal painting of mine that I'm going to keep for myself, because it feels like it's kind of a little bit of a transition of me trusting in my art and the way I see it as opposed to the way other people see it. Oh, I guess you can. Oh yeah, okay, so then I got to go to France. Oh my God, I got to go to France. I got an artist residency. My family was situated enough that I could go away for 2 weeks, and I went to the chateau in France, and I created work that was something I didn't even expect, but to have the time just to focus on my art and not caregiving and all kinds of things like that was just a profound moment for me. I was very lucky to be able to do so. I did window silhouette cutouts. I thought I would be doing plein air painting and observation, stuff like this, and I was just so happy doing it. And here's the heron from the river, and also I'd seen a heron. These are cutouts, and I wanted people to be able to see the outside from the inside. So that's me at the art, and she was living in France. That's my daughter, and she came to visit me, and it was just it was a wonderful experience. Collage. Okay. How are we on time?
We're doing okay.
Okay.
I think you have them.
Okay. So I have a very funny experience. So this is made out of totally Trader Joe's grocery bags.
Oh.
I was going to bring one with me, but I forgot. But for example, there is one butterfly on each Trader Joe's grocery bag. So as you can see, there's quite a few here. And this is how I started it. It was a Martin Luther King Day, and we didn't have school. And I'm a mother, and I have 2 kids at home. And I kind of felt weird, like, shouldn't we talk about this? Like, oh, it's not just a day off. I felt like it was something kind of important, and the mother and the teacher and the artist in me. So we made portraits of Martin Luther King while we talked about him. Art's so easy. I love art because you're busy, and they don't know that you're telling them stuff, And so I love using grocery bags for art projects. And I had turned this one inside out. This is the fork here. I was like, oh, that makes a cool eyebrow. Oh, that makes a cool chin. And so from this kind of project, being at home as a mother, not being able to go out and do a lot of things, I used the things that I had under my kitchen sink. We didn't have a lot of money, we didn't have a lot of time, we didn't have a lot of stuff. And so I started to create portraits of significant figures that I looked up to out of Trader Joe's grocery bags. And this is someone I made up. Her name is Khalifa, and she is the goddess of California. And she has men for hair, and she has the wine bottle as her thing, and this, yeah, I think I've got some more on here that you can see. So I have a funny story about this. I made Meryl Streep. And this is the process here of the Trader Joe's grocery bags. I had to collect a lot of Trader Joe's grocery bags. I don't know if this is going to make sense, but they're prints, right? They're runs of printing. So at different stores or at different times, some are going to be lighter, some are going to be darker. And it became kind of a community project, and people were giving them to me. And the reason I chose Meryl Streep was she was a mother, she was an artist, she was an activist. She had worked against organic apples, like there was some poison apples or something, I don't know, but I admired her, and I was like, how is she a mother and an amazing actress? Because I was in the thick of it. I had an Alzheimer's mother and 2 young children at home. I was in the thick of it, and it was hard to make art. So this is one of the projects that I did. I created a portrait out of her. And then so I was doing very significant, like, the subject was important, like who I chose to create was kind of matching the material. What do they call that? There's something like the material is makes it, whatever. Anyway, so then my friend was like, oh, that's really neat what you're doing. I'm doing this project for Hollywood. Can you make some portraits for me out of your Trader Joe's bags? I was like, sure, that sounds cool. And I got paid and everything. So I ended up doing, so this is Al Gore. This is she played the tennis star. Long story short, Gary Oldman, I got to meet him at the event. It was very fun. But somehow I had to make a portrait of Gary Oldman as Winston Churchill out of Trader Joe's grocery bags. I was like, this is gone. You know, I felt like a trick pony. You know, I'm like, this is not exactly what I'm trying to like say with my conceptual art. It was a lot of fun to meet Gary Oldman for sure. But it was very interesting because I did find these 1940s fighter planes on a Trader Joe's grocery bag, which was bizarre. It seemed like I could find everything I needed with a Trader Joe's grocery bag. Here's, global warming with the snowflakes. And Jessica Chastain, I met her. She was fabulous and wonderful. But it was, again, I'm just getting away from my soul as an artist. But it was a very fun project. And so what I was able to do after that, I went back to my Trader Joe's things, and you'll see why. This is Heather Heyer. She was one of the first victims. She was the victim of Charlottesville, where there were Nazis came to her town. And she, on her lunch break with her friends, went to the park and was like, I don't think I agree with this. I'm going to go and protest that. And I was really, really moved by that. It was kind of like, to me, she was kind of a canary in a coal mine with what could happen if we lose democracy. So I remember being at Trader Joe's. I go to Trader Joe's 5 times a week. You run into your friends there, and I ran into other moms there, and we were like, what just happened? Wasn't that weird? Like that's, I didn't have any strife in my life. I was born in 1968. I was born from the Vietnam War, but the first thing that ever happened to me personally was 9/11. So having something like this creep into my life was jarring, and so I ran into other mothers at Trader Joe's, and we were like, I said, I want to make a portrait of her. I heard her, because I had heard her speak. I had heard her mother speak. Her mother was like, what? And so I collected Trader Joe's bags from different mothers, and I created a portrait of Heather Heyer out of those bags. So this is me, and I got to go back to France. The coolest thing happened to me, I was invited back to the residency. I mean, as a mother, that's what you want. You teach your children. You're like, behave, So they invite you back. Be polite, all that kind of stuff. So I was invited back, and this is when I started, this is kind of the next trajectory of my art career, is I want to include the audience. I love experiences. Like, I've been just working all the time, but I realize I'm really a public artist. I started out in theater, and I am back in engaging audiences, including these kind of things in my life. So these are kind of some of the works that I did there. I created a camera obscura out of the window, and I'm using space and time. I thought that the only way to be an artist was through paint, charcoal, illustration, very traditional ways of art. And so now I'm experimenting, and it's been really, really, really fun. Yeah, and I'm taking my drawings and my sculptures and light and shadow and creating new kinds of ways of seeing and engaging art. I think we saw that one, yeah. It's just kind of like trying to figure out how to tell this story. Yeah, and that's cutting and pasting and using collage and charcoal and everything all together at once. That's a large drawing of charcoal. I want things to move now. That's where I'm at in my process. Yeah, that's a book I found at the library. I love the free shelf in the library. Everybody likes the free shelf in the library. And started cutting that and playing. I have more time now, so I'm able to play more. I don't have to just create something, or I don't have a job or an illustration job or a project. I'm allowing myself to play. And thinking. These are two really large drawings about inside and outside and all that kind of stuff. This is a huge drawing, and then using it as a backdrop, back to my roots of theatrical work. That's me back at the chateau. So I did a drawing and then I cut it out so that people could participate in the drawing with me. That's my daughter, and this is just cuts. I put plastic over the window there and let in light, creating a camera obscura out of a room.
Your own room?
Yes, I was able to have my own studio in my own bedroom there, and they gave you free meals. It was amazing. And then you put it here, and that's kind of, this is why I'm coming back to this towards the end of the slideshow. It is gonna end, trust me. Maybe not, unless you come for a studio visit. It's ongoing. But I really, really, really need and appreciate the observer. You make the art. The art is nothing without an audience. And this is Nature is Nurture, back to also my origin story, and mixing the real with the surreal, the observed with the imagined. Starting here and ending up there, to kind of let the viewer take in. I don't want to tell the whole story. I want the viewer to bring themselves to the picture. These are my sketchbooks into a painting. Sometimes they come out and be in it. I'll make it a little bit. That's an oil painting from the sketchbook. Again, that's another one. These are really large portraits. This is Gidget at 16. Again, talking about portraits, you don't just want to, it's not a photograph. You want to tell clues and stories and feelings. You know, she's 16 and she's trying on this fancy dress with her big sneakers, you know, that kind of thing. And, you know, this is me as the artist. You can't see what I'm painting. This is the most recent work that I've done. And this was my initial response to the fires. I did just drawing every day about it, and then there's a group that's imagining the homes, and so they give us an assignment, and this is a home that burned down, and we're sending it to the family. That's me in my studio, which you're welcome to come anytime. This is called The Space Between Us. I'm exploring the space between us right now, between you and me. The creative act is not performed by the artist alone. The spectator brings the work in contact with the external world by deciphering and interpreting its inner qualifications. And this adds his contribution to the creative act. That's a quote by Marcel Duchamp, one of my favorite artists that changed the course of art history. And that's where I am now. Okay, this is your painting that you So LA is a story, isn't it? The water story, right? So this was for the Autry Museum. They did a call out to artists to talk about LA's water story, and so this was my contribution to that. It's been on a billboard, it's been in the canon, and I had it framed and in my house, and I thought this is a bigger story and it needs to be somewhere, and so I brought it to the Canoga Park Library where I was working, and I said, would this be a good fit for the library? And we connected with Bill here, and Bill brought me to the museum, and we talked about it, and I'm so grateful to have it have a permanent home.
Yeah, well, as long as you're there, this is really spontaneous and not rehearsed.
Yeah, let's do it.
We wanted you to also talk about this,
Yeah.
but this is the painting that will be in our museum that Lois has donated to us. Very nice.
Thank you. So just a quick bit about the California has a rich history of environmental stewardship.
What'd you do, Bill?
Uh-oh.
You walked it.
Growl.
You walked
sugar
past it.
timbers.
Whoops. It explains who all those people are.
Yeah.
But it's basically about, here's the California condor, people working on making it come back. The otter, I love the comeback story of the otter and all the people working towards that. Here's downtown LA. These are the flower groves. Here's the freeway and the parking. I wasn't into my parking route there. Sylvia Earle. This is a Buffalo Soldier. This is an environmentalist who stayed in a tree for about 20, I don't remember how many days she stayed up in the trees to help save trees. We've got wind power coming, we've got fires, we've got snow, we've got rain. Chumash Indians, Jean Muir and Hilda Salas, all people that have contributed in the way that they knew how at the time. I don't think it's proper to judge people about, now about what they did. It's about who they were at the time and what they were doing to create our California story. And I think that we are all part of the California story, and I'm really happy to be a part of a historic place that understands and preserves stories and stewardship. So I want to thank you all for being here and listening to me talk about my art.
We'll do a advertisement.
Okay.
This has a special meaning because you can see this art where?
On the Metro. Yes, it's
Yep.
part of the neighborhood artist poster series, and I was assigned that community, which was really fun because I went out into the community and asked for stories, and I took pictures, and there was a lot of trees sculpted into that valley, and so the 9 barrios of El Monte, and it's still there, and it's kind of exciting.
Yeah, that's cool. Well,
Yeah.
listen, we very much appreciate it. What I'd like to do, though, is take the mic. You stay here, though, with me. This is just one part of the show. The other part of the show, when we get to our refreshments, you'll see scenes that Lois has painted of LA that are in the museum throughout. So this is just an exhibit, and the exhibit will continue in our museum. I think it's fascinating, the story with the Trader Joe's we will probably never throw our paper bags away. We'll give them to you. You never know what's
That's
gonna
right.
come of them.
That's right.
But I think that's fantastic. I have 2 forms of business yet to do, so if you don't mind,
Of course.
okay? Let me switch slides. Did a terrific job. Okay, for upcoming events, we had last Saturday, with our museum being open, but next month we'll have Fires of Canoga Park. There were 2 major ones, one with the high school and the other with the community church that burned down, that our egg pioneer, Charles Meeks, was one of the founders of. So it's an interesting story. You can see the pictures in the museum. We'll also then go to History of the Railroads in the San Fernando Valley by George Higgins, who has an expose that's quite remarkable. We'll do our Memorial Day program, and then we kind of have a special item. We're going to be not at Henry's for our end of season event. We'll be at the winery down on Sherman Way, thanks to Barb. So she's going to be our docent there, and we have some presentations to make with Ed leading the way with the Letter of Family. So it's quite a different place, and I hope will attract a lot of attention. Museum hours, the Saturday, the 8th of March, and then right on through April, May, and June. Okay, so I think it's time for refreshments. Thank you again, Lois, but you're going to be with us and explain your artwork
Yeah.
that's in the
We'll take
museum.
any questions, and we can get up and have snacks and
Yeah.
not hold it captive. But I do want to say
Yeah.
one thing.
I have brought a bunch of artwork that I would love for you to take home. So please feel free to take a piece of art with you home, free of charge. And because, as we said, the audience makes the art. So just, if you don't mind, just maybe giving me your email address. Yep, signed by me and original art. My gift to you for letting me share my story with you.
Outstanding. Thank you. And with that, we'll end the meeting. I know it's a little bit later than we normally do, but I think this has been a terrific presentation. And thank you, Lillian and Dave, for your artwork also in the eating kind of artwork.
All right.
Are you going to be in the trail next week?
Someday, I'm going to be there.
Did you come in?
Oh, sneak in.
Hiding behind you.
Here.
My question is, because every time we call the police, you know, I can use my own shopping bag for years.
Yeah.
So I never checked that. And when we went to Trader Joe's, they said, we are gonna pack the bag. Put it back in my cart and I packed my own bag. So it's what I never took the bag. In the house on Sunday.
Amazing.
I just,
Trader Joe's
coming out of
I live in Trader
it.
Joe's.
Now I have.
Not right now, but I.
Oh my God.
I don't have an answer for you.
Yes, I think you're gonna have jobs again. That's neat.
The other thing. Yeah.
So, was
she
there
lives
with
in
my
Arlene Valley.
godmother, who was always supportive and
You
said,
learn people
where
from
we
Lisa.
came from, must have
And,
been lovely. Because you're lovely.
she wants to join the
She was
choir.
Lovely.
Oh,
And
that
I'm
would be
on a
Well, I
list
don't think so.
about
Oh,
like,
the voices blend in though.
Yeah, I know.
like, this,
They-
this birth mothers on the list and the connection, so it was kind of like an artist list. But it wasn't happening. So I thought, oh, I have to take more of a direct response, so I called it.
Go for it.
But records were closed from
I even thought, I'll let you know.
I was surprised about
No, that's a whole nother story. That was after, yeah. But eventually they held it fine.
Cause I know the, like the flyers, right?
But I
It worked.
I ended up living here a year younger than I am. And growing up, I had sisters. Always wondered
Yeah,
where she came from.
yeah.
And finally broke the code. And she was dying. And she had a sister. They had lived, one in New Hampshire and the other in Vermont, that close. And the sister came over, but she was on a desktop.
We'll have to wait. Yeah.
That's the thing about the misconnection. I saw this movie and I was like, it's really not worth it. Like all of like, you know, being nervous isn't worth a misconnection. You can't get that right, right? Yeah.
And then just to finish it up, my father is an artist and my brother is an artist.
Oh, really?
So it comes from,
Cool. What do you do?
He talks a lot at meetings.
yeah. Yeah, I published 2 books for Go.
Oh, right on. Congratulations.
This was fun.
And
Did you get something to drink? Oh, yeah, well, that's outstanding. Thank you. If it hadn't been for you, it would never happen.
It does take this life to get
Yeah,
connect.
I
Once we
tried
get
to
break,
take-
we can become our.
I went to college to be an engineer. And I swapped out and tried art for a year, and the only thing I picked up from it was layout. And that also was my father's 9-to-5 job, was working for newspapers, he was the art director.
Oh, yeah, doing that. That's when they copied, they pasted it
You know,
on
and
them.
we're, in my hometowns were the famous art school, originally in Westport.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And so.
You know what? Well, I'm gonna just put it in there. Tell you what, if you would take,
Saturday.
these and bring them into the museum. Yeah, and Ron
was really.
can we help you?
Yeah, I just, I gotta draw on every day. Well, that's the easy part for me. It's always been that. The hard part is, photographing it and showing it to galleries and giving it jobs and doing all that. And it takes so much time and brain power that I don't have. But I can do this, you know?
Can I tell you a fun story on myself, so to speak? I read your bio,
Yeah,
and in it, you had the fact that you went to the Chicago Art Institute.
yes.
And I went, holy moly. And my mother was, I think, 19 years old. She had such a art background.
How you doing? I'm okay, how are you? You just did a deep knee bend, that's good.
Thank you, Bill. What a great presentation.
Georgia O'Keeffe was there at the same time.
There was no money. She had money at her aunt and her father did too. When she got there, there was no money to live there. So she had to call the housekeeper while she went to school and then she came to school.
I mean, little things like
So I
that.
read your bio. No, I haven't thought about that in a long time.
That's really interesting.
I never really experienced all through my life.
Well, it's like those opportunities, you know, that's why I teach my daughters, like opportunities don't come as easily as you think, you gotta grab them.
Oh.
Right? Yeah.
Anyway,
Thank you
Here,
so
Ed, let
much.
me get.
Oh, let me.
This.
Had a business card. I'm the secretary, and I always send out thank you notes.
And do you want to turn off your camera?
Oh, yeah. Oh my
Yeah,
God, is it
sorry
still
about
actually going?
Maybe,
Wow.
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, where are we on third
Let's
base?
see. I think it's in here.
And were you
And as
developed?
you look, I want to say thank you, and I
Oh,
picked
my
the big wave.
Yay! Oh, I love the blue. Great.
So nice
If I
to.
don't, I can send you one, Rick, for sure.
Okay.
I should have it in my, but I think my wallet is in the car, because I had to grab a sandwich in between my time to get there, but I'll
That's
send
fine.
you one.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, my
You
pleasure.
talked about tree service. Are you involved with the tree service?
Yes.
Because my sister-in-law, who's passed away, she worked for the U.S. Forest Service,
Oh, cool.
especially with the tree service.
Oh, neat.
And they've, when she passed away, they planted a tree in Culver City, I think it was,
Uh-huh.
and they called it the Susan Monk and Holly tree.
Oh, okay, so I'm having a lunch with the LA City tree director next week.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we'll try and connect before
What's
then.
his name?
It's a woman. Her name is I can't think.
That's
right now.
okay, because the guy, the person I knew from the tree service was a guy,
Yeah.
and he was very
But
involved with.
it's really important for the
Yeah.
city.
Oh,
right?
yeah, it's very nice.
Cool.
Great presentation.
Thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
so happy you enjoyed it. Thank you. It was so long. You guys gave me
Oh,
too
no, it
much
was
grief.
fantastic. It was so fantastic. You're a fantastic speaker. You're one of the best ones we've had in the last several years.
What?
Yeah, yeah. And like,
Thanks, Ed.
oh, you're welcome. And a few years ago, we actually had a woman from the LA River Project.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah. So,
I love the LA River Project. They're doing so much interest. It's so interesting.
yes, it is, Lois. It is. And like, Bob Blumenfield, our councilman here,
Yeah.
Bob Blumenfield, he's
Yeah.
like really involved.
I just went past it. On my way back home, I drove past where his building is.
Oh, his West Valley on Van Allen and
Yeah,
Wilbur.
yeah, exactly. And I was like,
Next
oh,
to
that's
the-
where his thing is.
Yeah, the offices are there, and next door is the library,
Yeah.
and then next door is the state of the art police department.
Yes, I saw that. I
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
that today.
Yeah, yeah. And so it's really good, and like he does a good job, and all of his staff are really, really good, and but he only has like a year left before he's termed out.
Oh,
But he's
right.
been a state assemblyman before, and before he was a state assemblyman, he was like a chief legislative aide for Brad Sherman back in Washington D.C.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. I love all that stuff. I think it just is so, I don't know, it just brings people together, right?
Yes. And if you want to see where the
My
headquarters.
pleasure. Thank you.
Iron Dome thing, how that works.